Crumbling schools, patients dying in hospital hallways, families choosing between heating and eating. This isn't a dystopian novel. This is the United Kingdom in 2024. The cradle of the Industrial Revolution, the nation that once ruled a quarter of the globe, now finds itself in an economic freefall that's sending shockwaves through every aspect of British life. Can Britain pull itself back from the brink, or are we witnessing the death throes of a once great power? Buckle up, because the story we're about to tell isn't just about economics, it's about the very survival of a nation. Let's start with the biggest political news, the 2024 UK general election. Held on July 4th, this election saw a massive shake-up in British politics that will undoubtedly shape the country's trajectory for years to come. After 14 years of Conservative rule, the Labour Party, led by Keir Starmer, secured a resounding victory that few could have predicted in its scale and impact. The results of this election were nothing short of historic. Labour won an astounding 411 seats, giving them a 172-seat majority in the House of Commons. This remarkable performance represents their second-best result ever, only surpassed by Tony Blair's legendary 1997 landslide. What makes this victory even more intriguing is that Labour achieved this massive majority with only 33.8% of the popular vote, the smallest share for any majority government in British history. This unusual outcome speaks volumes about the fragmentation of the political landscape and the impact of tactical voting against the Conservatives. On the flip side, the Conservative Party suffered its worst defeat in history, a political catastrophe that will likely reshape the party for years to come. The reasons behind this electoral earthquake are manifold. Years of Conservative governance have been marked by political instability, economic challenges, and controversial policies. The party has cycled through 5 prime ministers in just 7 years, creating a sense of chaos and incompetence in the public eye. Brexit, which the Conservatives had championed, had failed to deliver on many of its promised benefits, instead creating economic disruption and diplomatic tensions with the European Union. Moreover, the cost of living crisis, persistent issues with the National Health Service, and a general sense of national decline had eroded public trust in the Conservatives' ability to govern effectively. Labour, under Keir Starmer's leadership, successfully positioned itself as a credible alternative, promising stability, economic growth, and a fresh approach to the country's challenges. The election also saw a significant shift in voting patterns across traditional demographic and geographic lines. Labour made inroads into formerly Conservative strongholds in southern England, while also reclaiming much of its lost ground in northern England, areas that had formed part of the so-called Red Wall that crumbled to the Conservatives in 2019. This realignment suggests a reshaping of political allegiances that could have long-lasting effects on British politics. The Labour Party now faces the monumental task of living up to the high expectations set by their landslide victory, while navigating the complex economic and social challenges facing the UK. Now, let's dive into the economic realities facing the UK. We're not going to sugarcoat it, the situation is dire, and the new Labour government is inheriting an economy beset by multiple crises that have been brewing for years. At the heart of the UK's economic woes is a persistent problem of stagnant growth. The country has been stuck in a low-growth rut for over a decade, with GDP per capita growing by a meager 4.3% between 2007 and 2023. To put that in perspective, it's the lowest growth rate since 1826, a time when the Industrial Revolution was still in its early stages and Queen Victoria wasn't even on the throne yet. This long-term economic malaise culminated in a technical recession in late 2023, with 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth. The reasons behind this chronic underperformance are complex and interconnected. Brexit has undoubtedly played a role, creating uncertainty for businesses and disrupting trade relationships with the UK's largest trading partner, the European Union. The COVID-19 pandemic delivered another significant blow, causing sharp contractions in economic activity and necessitating massive government interventions. But even before these recent shocks, the UK economy had been struggling with structural issues such as low productivity growth, regional inequalities, and underinvestment in key sectors. Compounding these growth challenges is a severe cost of living crisis that has been squeezing British households. Inflation hit a 41-year high of 11.1% in October 2022, driven by soaring energy prices and supply chain disruptions. While inflation has come down since then, with the latest figures showing it at 2% in May 2024, the affordability of goods and services remains a major challenge for millions of households. Wages have failed to keep pace with rising prices, leaving many Britons struggling to make ends meet. This erosion of purchasing power has not only caused hardship for individuals and families, but has also dampened consumer spending, a critical driver of economic growth. The housing market, long a cornerstone of the UK economy and a key aspiration for many Britons, has become increasingly unaffordable. The average house price in 2023 was 8.3 times the average earnings, up from 6.8 times in 2010. This growing disparity has led to declining home ownership rates, especially among younger age groups. The number of people aged 35 to 44 who own their own homes has dropped by 6.5 percentage points since 2010. This housing crisis not only affects individual financial security, but also has broader economic implications, potentially limiting labor mobility and exacerbating wealth inequalities. Years of austerity and underinvestment have taken a severe toll on public services, creating a vicious cycle of declining quality and increasing dissatisfaction. The National Health Service, or NHS, once the pride of Britain, is facing unprecedented pressures. As of April 2024, a staggering 7.6 million people were on NHS waiting lists, with over 302,500 waiting more than a year for treatment. The median waiting time has nearly tripled, from 5.2 weeks in March 2010 to 13.9 weeks. This crisis in healthcare not only affects the well-being of individuals, but also has knock-on effects on workforce productivity and economic output. Education, another crucial pillar for long-term economic success, has also suffered. According to the Institute for Fiscal Studies, spending per pupil has flatlined in real terms since 2010. This underinvestment in human capital risks hampering the UK's future competitiveness in an increasingly knowledge-based global economy. Perhaps most alarmingly, the UK has suffered from chronically low business investment, ranking at the bottom of the G7. This lack of investment has contributed to poor productivity growth, further hampering economic progress. The reasons for this investment drought are multifaceted, including Brexit-related uncertainty, global economic headwinds, and a lack of confidence in the UK's long-term economic prospects. No discussion of the UK's economic and political landscape would be complete without addressing one of the most contentious issues of recent years: immigration. The topic has been at the forefront of British political debate for over a decade, playing a significant role in the Brexit referendum and subsequent elections. As the new Labour government takes office, they inherit a complex and often divisive policy area that has profound implications for the economy, society, and Britain's place in the world. Recent data paints a striking picture of the scale of immigration to the UK. Net migration reached a record high of 685,000 in 2023, a figure that has reignited heated debates about the economic and social impacts of such high levels of inward migration. This number represents a dramatic increase from historical norms and has put strain on public services and housing in some areas of the country. However, the economic contributions of immigrants to the UK are substantial and often underappreciated in public discourse. In the 2018-2019 fiscal year alone, European Economic Area immigrants contributed a net £22.4 billion in taxes and national insurance, while non-EEA immigrants contributed an additional £20 billion. This positive fiscal impact helps fund public services and infrastructure that benefit all UK residents. The impact of international students is particularly noteworthy. In 2021-22, international students brought a staggering £41.9 billion to the UK economy through tuition fees, living costs, and associated spending. This not only provides a significant boost to the higher education sector, but also supports jobs and businesses in university towns and cities across the country. Moreover, immigrants play crucial roles in key sectors of the UK economy. Nowhere is this more evident than in the National Health Service, where 20% of staff were born outside the British Isles. Without these international healthcare workers, the NHS, already under severe strain, would struggle to function. Similar patterns can be seen in other sectors such as social care, construction, and hospitality. Yet, despite these economic benefits, concerns persist about the impact of high levels of immigration on public services, housing, and social cohesion in some communities. Critics argue that rapid demographic changes have put pressure on schools, healthcare services, and the housing market, particularly in areas that have seen large influxes of immigrants over a short period. There are also concerns about wage suppression in certain sectors, although economic studies have generally found the overall impact on wages to be minimal. Nevertheless, the perception that immigration negatively impacts job prospects and wages for native workers remains prevalent in some communities. The cultural impact of immigration is another area of heated debate. While many celebrate the increased diversity and cultural richness brought by immigrants, others worry that changes to the traditional character of their communities. This cultural anxiety played a significant role in the Brexit vote and continues to shape political attitudes towards immigration. The new Labour government will need to navigate these complex issues carefully. Their approach to immigration will need to balance economic needs, public concerns, and international obligations. This could involve a more nuanced, sector-specific approach to work visas, measures to better distribute the settlement of immigrants across the country to reduce pressure on particular areas, and increased investments in integration programs. Labour will also need to address the legacy of the hostile environment policies implemented by previous Conservative governments. These policies, intended to make life difficult for illegal immigrants, have been criticised for creating a climate of fear and suspicion that has affected even legal immigrants and ethnic minority British citizens. The issue of asylum seekers and refugees adds another layer of complexity to the immigration debate. The UK has seen an increase in people crossing the English Channel in small boats to claim asylum, leading to political controversy and challenges in processing claims and providing accommodation. Labour will need to develop a humane and effective approach to managing asylum claims while also working to address the root causes of forced migration. As Britain redefines its place in the world post-Brexit, its immigration policy will play a crucial role in shaping its economic future and international relationships. The new government will need to craft a policy that allows the UK to attract the talent it needs to drive economic growth while also addressing public concerns and maintaining social cohesion. This will require not just policy changes, but also a shift in the public conversation around immigration. There's a need for a more nuanced, fact-based debate that acknowledges both the benefits and challenges of immigration. Labour's success in managing this issue could have far-reaching implications for social harmony, economic prosperity, and Britain's global reputation in the years to come. As we've seen, the challenges facing the UK are immense, but so too are the opportunities for renewal and growth. The coming years will be crucial in determining whether Britain can reclaim its place as a leading global economy or continue to slide into irrelevance. What do you think about the UK's economic situation and Labour's plans to address it? We want to hear your thoughts. Drop your comments below and let's keep this important conversation going. If you found this analysis informative, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth explorations of global economic trends. And don't forget to ring that bell icon to stay notified of our latest uploads.